What's good, everybody? Welcome to the 32nd episode of Full Circle. I'm your host, as always, Harmon Jr. Please feel free to find me at Harmon Jr. on all your favorite social media. All right, everybody, you know what time it is. It's February. We finally made it. Pokemon month. Last year, we had a big Pokemon spectacular for the 25th. It was crazy. And Pokemon is forever, so Pokemon month is also forever. So 26 years in the game. Pokemon's going strong. Don't worry, people. We're not talking about Arceus or Acreus. You know, I'm not gonna let you say how you want. We're not gonna talk about it this episode, but it's coming. It's coming. Just play it. Don't worry. We're gonna get to that. But we have a special Pokemon episode for you today. You're probably like, Odell, you talked about Pokemon nauseam. What more can you bring? We're going to have a Pokemon card special. Yes, that's right, people. We've never had a Pokemon card special. So I had to bring the Pokemon card expert, Alex Van Aken, to the show. Give it up to him, everybody. Woo! How are you doing today, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me, Odell. How are you?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. And Alex, real quick before we get started, just in case the people don't know, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, I'm Alex Van Aken. I'm a video editor currently over at GameInformer.com. I've been in the space for like 6 years. Before Game Informer, I ran my own website and podcast network. And by Game Informer, I joined in October of 2020. And that was my first real gig in the industry that wasn't freelance. And now we're here in February 2022. We got a new Pokemon game, like you hinted at. Pokemon cards are all the rage again. If people want to follow me, I sometimes post pictures. If you like the Pokemon talk today, sometimes I post pictures of my Pokemon card hauls on social media at It's Van Aken. That's where you can find me. But that's everything about me, Odell.
That's what's up. And I'm not gonna lie, for your first real gig, I'll say Game Informer is pretty impressive. Congratulations on that. And Alex, before we get into the nitty gritty and talk about the wonderfulness that is Pokemon cards, there's some news that dropped today. And we were supposed to record over the weekend, hell, even Friday, but I'm glad we did, because this always happens. There's always some big stop the presses news that happens right before a podcast goes live. But that didn't happen. So, people, before we get into Pokemon business, we need to talk about straight video games. Sony bought Bungie. Yes, you heard that correct, people. The people who brought us Halo is now owned by PlayStation. Take that how you will. I'm going to take it crazy. That is insane. I don't know.
Yeah, right?
I don't know if PlayStation was like, you know what? This is the equivalent of Nintendo buying Sega in my mind.
Yeah, right? It is out of left field. I mean, last week we saw Microsoft acquire, the Gargantuan. And I was like, surely nothing is going to get bigger than that. And it's not bigger monetarily, but I think as far as messaging goes, like Sony buying Bungie is ridiculous. I mean, now Xbox has Activision Blizzard, but they're like, nah, we have Bungie, like the creators of Halo, and that is wild.
And to me, it's such a statement, because if you go back when Bungie split between Bungie and 343 Studios, their whole thing was, we don't want to be owned by Xbox, because that just would have made sense. Everyone would be like, yeah, you make Halo, and they're just like, no, we're gonna do our own thing. We'll have like 343, and they'll do the Halo thing, and we'll do whatever we want. It turned out to be Destiny and other projects, and now it's like, well, now we're owned by Sony. So it's like, whoa, power move. That's a power move if you ask me. Like you said, it might not monetarily, clearly not as big, but messaging.
Dude, like that, the Destiny community is ridiculous. Like, they are hardcore, and I really want to know what they think. Like, obviously, like, I'm sure, like, if you own Destiny 2, you're gonna get to keep playing Destiny 2 where you play it at. But like future titles, Destiny 3 that'd be big for PlayStation. And I imagine Sony isn't the type that, Microsoft, they'll put their games on Nintendo Switch. They'll put them on PC. They'll even put them on PlayStation. They own Minecraft, right? Sony doesn't do that. If you're lucky, you get PC. Otherwise, you got to go to them. And I'm very curious what the Destiny community, what their reaction is going to be.
Yeah, because so I remember I have some friends that are big into Overwatch, and people are like, oh, Overwatch 2 won't be on PlayStation, and people are like, I play it on PC, or if it's not PC, then maybe Xbox. People primarily play it on PC, so that's like it was a moot point. And then I asked people, and they're just like, But I feel like this will not be true for Destiny. Destiny players won't just be like, the ones that are already on PlayStation, they don't care, obviously. They're just like, well,
Yeah.
yippee. But the PC and Xbox, that choices will have to be made.
I am very curious because the news literally just broke, like right before an hour before we recorded this. So, yeah, I want to be a fly in the wall on, Jim Ryan's conversations with the Bungie crew and how all of that went down, because especially Bungie and Destiny has always kind of leaned PlayStation a little bit. They always had like the exclusive weapons. They would have like the exclusive strikes that are only available on PlayStation 4. So they've always kind of leaned towards PlayStation. And then I felt like they got independent. Felt like it evened out a little more. But, now back in bed with Sony, I guess.
Yeah, and the funny part about this, because everyone was just speculating, of course, like, oh, well, Sony will probably acquire, like a Capcom or like Square Enix. There are all these predictable routes. And, let's say the news was Sony buys Capcom. Everyone would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, that's big, but yeah, that makes sense. Or the fact that it was left field is just even more surprising, because it's like, oh, God, if they got something we didn't expect, what else could they do? I mean, because how long was it between Bethesda and Activision? That was 2 years, a year?
A year, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like Sony could easily just be like, this is just the floodgates,
Yeah.
Man, it's okay. I'm gonna say it. We can start on Pokemon, but people called me crazy. I said this all last year. I said it at the first show of this year with Greg Miller, that all the big publishers are gonna end up being owned by one of the big three, and that was only 3 weeks ago. Greg called me crazy. People who listened to the show called me crazy. People who saw the tweets called me crazy. They're like, Odell, that makes no sense. Death of the multi-platform game. That's stupid. We would never go that way. Call of Duty and Destiny are basically about to be console exclusives.
That's wild.
And if it can happen to Call of Duty, it can happen to Destiny. Hell, it can happen to basically anyone else at that point, in my mind.
Yeah, right? I mean, I think Call of Duty and Destiny kind of have as far as non-free-to-play FPS games, they're kind of like the ones to beat now, in terms of like a traditional FPS experience. And now they're like, I guess, both on opposite sides, which is, I'm sure this is gonna like stir up even more console war BS. But yeah, it's wild for sure.
Yeah, like that's all I'm saying, people. I'm not even gonna say I'm right. I was just saying that what I said is looking a hell of a lot more plausible each passing day, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, honestly.
But I said it. We're here to talk about Pokemon. Happy 26th anniversary, people. I know that's not a big number, but I mean, Pokemon is still doing 25th anniversary stuff. We're still in that 25th anniversary celebration. Like, they still have things planned out to the end of the year, which is crazy. But I guess, Alex, real quick, what's your Pokemon story? How'd you get into it? And then how did you get into the cards aspect of it specifically?
Yeah, I've been playing Pokemon since Red. I got an original Game Boy back in, I guess I was like 7. It was like 98. And was playing Donkey Kong Country and Tetris, which as a kid, I was like, all right, whatever. And then my uncle took me to Kmart and let me pick out. Yeah, shout out to Kmart. Let me pick a game from behind the shelf, and I picked Pokemon Red. I just this was even before I mean, I guess I had heard friends talk about it. I don't remember knowing about Pokemon really until I played that game. Like, I didn't have this huge. I wasn't just dying to get Pokemon Red. I think maybe my uncle had heard about it. Maybe that's how it went down. He had probably heard about hey, this is the game right now to get a kid. And so I got Pokemon Red, fell in love with it. Charmander was my first starter. But like any Pokemon sicko, I beat the game with every starter multiple times. And now I think my favorite has become Bulbasaur maybe as a starter. I don't know. Charmander was the OG, the original love, and he rules. But anyways, fast forward, Game Boy Color comes out. It's Christmas Eve, and I open up a Game Boy Color. My grandpa's like, "Oh, here, open up a gift." I was thinking it was gonna be like pajamas, because none of the good presents are open on Christmas Eve. And I opened up a Game Boy Color and Pokemon Gold, and that was just the start of just the next level of obsession with that series. I had all the books, like the Pokemon field guides that you'd buy at like Books A Million. And then I got into the card game. I think my mom got me into it. I think she's the one who fed that obsession. It'd be a few packs at a time, but just slowly fell in love with, collecting things, right? And we didn't even have that much money, so I didn't have any good cards, because I would get like maybe like a couple packs a month. Like some kids, the rich kid families, they were like just cracking packs all week long. I was like, I'm lucky if I get like 4 this month, but I'll take what I can get. And from there, just really fell in love with trading card games in general. It went from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh! To there was a Dragon Ball Z card game at one point. And I just love like the artwork and being able to like take my favorite characters and like, go play a card game with my friends. I don't know. I just, there was something about it that I liked, and that feeling of finally getting a holographic after like opening several packs is like, oh, this is awesome. This is the stuff. And it was honestly like time and place. I think like my friends were really into collecting Pokemon cards, and so naturally I got more into it. Whereas maybe if I didn't have anybody around me that played, then it'd kind of just be like a flash in the pan. But half the dudes at school at recess would bring out their Pokemon cards. At one point, it got so bad like the school had to ban Pokemon cards, and like they would confiscate your cards, and so like you'd be doing like shady dealings like over on the playground like picnic table, like keeping an eye out for the teachers. And luckily we had like a massive recess. Our recess yard was like probably like 2 acres. It was ridiculously big. Like I don't know why they let kids run around. Like there was no fence or anything. Like, you just kind of like wander off, and like there's like woods surrounding you. I grew up. I went to elementary school in like Northern Virginia in the mountains, like where Fallout 76 is based. That's where I went to school.
We don't need fences where we are.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, we would just do our shady Pokemon dealings, and it was just a ton of fun. And from there, I got a Game Boy Advance SP. I got Pokemon Ruby, and that was actually like the end of my Pokemon love for a while. Besides the show, I watched the show for a while, but after Sapphire and Ruby came out, I didn't get a DS. So after that, my fandom lapsed for a long time until when did I skipped Gen 4 through Gen 7, I think, and I got back in on Sun and Moon. I bought a 3DS to play that, and as well my fandom of the games lapsed, as well as the cards. Like after one kind of fell, they all fell, and that's when I got into Yu-Gi-Oh instead, and whatever, so on and so forth. And then I guess like I don't know, when did Sun and Moon come out? Like 2016? Let me Google it. Sun and Moon came out 2016. So that's when I kind of started getting back into it a little bit. I kind of bounced off of Sun and Moon though. It wasn't really. I think I was expecting the formula to evolve quite a bit, coming back so much later, and it kind of felt like it hadn't. And so I've kind of dabbled in Pokemon since that. I got the the Let's Go remakes. I've kind of played every one since then to mixed results. And then in 2020, the Pokemon trading card craze kind of kicked up. People were stuck at home. They wanted to do something, so I guess they bought Pokemon cards. And I mean, at the time, like I was watching TikTok on social media. I got FOMO. I was like, man, I used to love Pokemon cards. Like, there's like a part of my lizard brain that like likes cracking open the pack and like finding something shiny inside. And so I bought a couple packs and I got awful cards. I was like, this is a mistake. I'm not doing this again. So that was at like the late 2020. And then I'd say beginning to mid 2021, a new like pack series came out that was getting a lot of buzz. And I was like, all right, let me actually, you know what? My brother came to town and he's a Pokemon card sicko. And he's like, let's go get some Pokemon cards. And I was like, all right. And then that was the beginning of the end for me. And yeah, so now I'm a Pokemon card sicko, I guess. and these are my rarest cards
Oh, snap.
in my hand right here. So I've got some retro cards as well as some newer ones. Like I've got, for the audio listeners, this is Dark Charizard from the Team Rocket set back in 1999. I've got some base set stuff, and I've kind of just started a collection again. And yeah, it's easy to get out of control, Odell.
Yeah.
It's easy to just buy 5 more packs, and I have an addictive personality, so this is a hobby I definitely have to keep in check. I actually haven't bought Pokemon cards in 2 months because I was going too hard on them. I was all right, I need to take a break and reel this in, because it's so easy just oh, one more pack. And then you you mentioned that the Pokemon 25th anniversary celebrations, that kind of brought the craze back to the forefront again, because they were re-releasing all of the old cards, the old Charizards and Blastoise, and yeah, it was ridiculous. But sorry, I know I just word vomited everywhere about
you're
Pokemon
good.
cards.
You're good. I mean, that's what we're here for. I was born in '90s, so I had a similar path. I got in it because it was the coolest thing since sliced bread. The cards specifically. My Pokemon story is the first time I was ever introduced to Pokemon was in Sears. Yes, people Sears, that place that sells appliances. They used to be like a regular old department store. And they had a Game Boy kiosk, and I don't know if it was red or blue. I think it was blue. But I remember playing, my mom's I don't know, buying a washer, or I don't know, whatever moms do in Sears. And I was that's boring. I'm going to go over here. Oh, here's a Game Boy. And I remember playing Pokemon. And I remember having zero idea what I was doing. Zero.
Was it one of the ones that was attached to the kiosk? Yeah, okay. Nobody could take it anywhere.
Yeah, no,
and,
you had to
stuck out.
You had to lean over, because I was kind of short as a kid. I had to lean over and play, and the buttons, only the buttons you can press, because it's the glass is cut out where the buttons are, but the game was just stuck in there. Yeah. So I remember playing it, and I was just this is amazing. This is the greatest thing I've ever experienced. I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so from there, but specifically the cars, I remember mine was the school bus. That's where the action went down. The bus stopping on the school bus. And then when they banned them, I remember...
It sounds like there was just a nationwide ban.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Pokemon was the devil and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
It was there was the ban from the church community, the ban from the school community. And it
all
was
sides.
just all sides. And so, but I remember there was a Pokemon card heist at my school. And what I mean by that, so they would get confiscated, and then one day, whatever grade we're in, it's 4th to 5th grade, one of the kids gets this crazy idea. He's man, the teacher puts them in the drawer. This is what we're gonna do. When the teacher leaves, we're just gonna go up to the drawer and take them. And I was what? He's yeah, just take them. We're just gonna do it. And then you don't have to take them, but you just have to be. You just can't say nothing. So when it's ever figured out that they're no longer there, we all got to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And everyone was just "Whoa, this kid's bold, man. This kid is bold."
Yeah,
and
dangerous.
So the day finally happened. The teacher came. She came or whatever, and not came. She left. He did it, and then she came back, and then she didn't notice the next day, and she was "Who knows what happened to the Pokemon cards?" And everyone was "Oh, solidarity." No one knows what happens because he did a thing where he kept most of them, but people were "Oh yeah, that's my card." People were just claiming random cards, and he kept the bulk majority of them. And I remember in my head, I was thinking man, that kid's going places. I mean, probably to detention and juvie.
That's a leader right there.
Yeah, but it was amazing. But I remember, so no one at my school actually knew how to play the game, the actual card game. And I figured most kids probably didn't, because that's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Who knows how to
that
play? That
requires reading.
Yeah.
How about we just throw them on on the table and pretend they do damage or whatever.
Yeah. And so I remember I got the trading card Game Boy game at some point, and I was "Oh, okay, yeah, this is dumb." It's actually an amazing game, people. If you haven't played it, but at the time, my young self thought it was dumb. But do you remember Pokemon Rocks America or something like that?
Pokemon, no.
Okay, so there was a Pokemon tour. You know, back in the day when things would have tours of
Yeah.
random nature. So it was like Pokemon Rocks America or something like that, you know, city near you. You know, it was like, we're going to Orlando and Dallas and Milwaukee.
Yeah, I definitely didn't have that in Fallout 76 territory.
Yeah.
They weren't going up there.
But yeah, the tour eventually came to Houston. And this was around during the third generation because Hoenn was still new. Like, they were still like, look, it's a Blaziken. Oh,
Yeah.
You know, stuff, which Blaziken's
Blaziken was dope.
Yeah.
Then.
That's the one that's going to sell to the kids. And so it was at Space Center in Houston. And I went, and so they had like Pokemon events. And, you know, it's uber kid friendly. You know, we're all just like, whoa. And this is like right when I was like getting into middle school. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, you know, it's cool, but it's not that cool.
Yeah,
it's really
right.
cool. You know, it's just. And so they had a thing where it was learn how to play the trading card game. And I was like, oh, cool. I've never actually learned how to play that. And, you know, they had the people in, I want to say Nintendo shirts, but it was.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know who these kids were. They couldn't have been older than like 18.
It was probably like the Books a Million employee or something. Just
yeah,
like
exactly.
hating life. He has like a pamphlet that he follows. Yeah.
And so we're playing, and I learned. I'm like, oh, this is actually fun. And then if you win, they give you like a pack of like, you know, rare cards. I don't know. But I won. I'm pretty sure, you know, they let us win. It's pretty basic. And I got in after that. I was like, oh, cool, yeah. Like, I went back and played the Game Boy game, and I loved it. And I tried to start collecting cards again, but at this point in life, no one really collected the cards. And so I was like, well, I have no one to play with.
Yeah.
This is a bad plan.
Yeah.
But then you fast forward, you know, to 2020, and we got people like getting beat up at Target for Pokemon
I know
cards.
there were people that would follow employees home and ask them when they're restocking Pokemon cards. And they're like, dude, I make $15 an hour. Leave me alone. Like, I don't get paid for this. Nobody gets paid for this harassment. Yeah. And then they put the whole, man, I get wherever Pokemon goes, like a ban follows. Because then there was the Target ban where they weren't carrying any cards for like a month or two. And that made the craze even more ridiculous. Yeah. I try to approach it in a more healthy way, you know. Compulsion will get the best of me, but you know, I try to be like, okay, I've got like $30 to spend this month on Pokemon cards. Here's what I'm gonna get. And I've been enjoying it that way. And I also like buy and sell them. So like I don't like keeping things that I'm not using or I don't enjoy. That's just like anything with me. Like if I don't know, like if I had like a game back in the day and I wasn't playing it, like I don't want to sit on that. Like even if I'm gonna get like $5 from GameStop, I would go. I was that person who would go and, well, I'm not using it, so I might as well like get something for it. And I'm kind of that way with cards. Like if there's a Pokemon that I don't really care about in my collection and it's worth like $20-$30, then I'll just throw it up on eBay and sell it for the market price. And yeah, kind of get my money back that way.
Yeah, so this is where we're gonna get into where I need you to fill me in. So first of all, explain to me the art of pulling.
The art of pulling. Okay. I wish I had a fresh pack on me, but I mean, you get the pack, you open it like where you can see like just like the one very thin side is open, and you can just see like the profiles of the cards. You pull it open, and you have a code card now in the new packs, and those I probably have one here. I don't know where I put those, but it's a code card, and if you scan the QR code, you get the digital copy of whatever cards, and you can play the online game with those cards. But the art of it, and I learned this like last year, is there are, I think, 10 cards, 8 cards, 8 or 10. I think it's 10 cards in every pack. And one of them, you're guaranteed a reverse holo, which is like, for people who are familiar with the old cards back in the day, like you would have the window that was holographic. Reverse holos are less rare. And instead of the window being holographic, the rest of the card is holographic. and the window is like flat. And those are reverse hollows. Those are in every pack. And so you are guaranteed one of those, and you have a chance to pull a rare or an ultra rare, which are like a rare is a hollow rare are like the original ones, like just the window is holographic, and then ultra rares are like full art cards, so the entire card is artwork and shiny, and it's really cool. And then there's alternate arts. There's all sorts of stuff. But yeah, you do 4 to the front is what they call it. So you take a code card off, 4 to the front, you flip it around, and you have your energy card. And that means nothing. I always get excited if it's like lightning or fire, because those are my favorite types. And then you just start pulling until the last 2 will be your 2 rare ones. And so you kind of like save the best for last that way. Sometimes I get impatient. Like if I've cracked open a lot of the same kind of pack, I just like rip it apart and just see what's shiny inside. But if I'm trying to enjoy myself and get the full experience, you got to take the code out, 4 to the front or 4 to the back rather. And then, go through one at a time. And sometimes I feel like lately I've kind of chilled out on the cards just because I've been getting really bad pulls. Like just duplicates galore, nothing rare. So I kind of chilled out. But then sometimes you get on a hot streak and you're like, dang, I just like pulled $100 worth of cards from like 3 packs. And man, maybe I should buy another. It's a sick loop, Odell. It's a sick loop.
Man, it's always interesting to me, and I know pooling isn't unique to Pokemon cards, but just the Poke craze, the craze that is anything in Pokemon. I remember, and I was thinking, I'm like, it's such a time to be alive. Like, we remember vividly just getting a pack, tinfoil, ripping them open, and just being like, and now like it's an event. It's a true event, like that can be broadcast, shown to other people. And then, there's the money making aspect of it, because, I know you flip your cards, specifically, you're a good Samaritan. You're like, I don't want this. Someone probably wants this, collection, or, genuinely wants it. And, I see it all the time that I've seen you on Twitter and just various other people who pull Pokemon cards are like, hey, I got this going. And then on the vice versa, I see people receive them all the time. Like, hey, so-and-so sent me this and that. And, it's like its own currency. Even though when people do these cards, like, people are just like, it's well, I'm gonna be romantic here in what I'm about to say. It's like the true vision of Pokemon is it's being fully realized through the cards today of like, hey, I have this. Where is somebody on the world, anyone on this planet who wants to trade me for this card for something I want? And that's just such an insane thing to see. Because, Pokemon is essence, the creation of the Game Boy Link cable, not specifically for Pokemon, but the, major utilization of that. Yeah. And, the original goal of Pokemon was to connect people. And it's, in its essence, 25 years later, still doing that in every form that it exists. And that just blows my mind.
That's a great point. That is awesome. Like, I have this Gyarados. It's a rare... It's called Shadowless Gyarados. It's from the base set. This was printed in 1999. Yeah, it was printed in 1999. It's a rare version of Gyarados. I got this through a trade. I did not pay money for this. I found a guy on Facebook Marketplace who was looking for... I think I had a Charizard he wanted. Or I think I actually had like several smaller cards that he was interested in. And we literally met up at a gas station. It was shady as hell. And we traded, and it was like, dang, like this is just like Pokemon. And I got there's some other cards I got recently that I did essentially that, but through a online group. Like we just trusted each other. We're like, all right, I'm gonna send you this. Here's my address. You're gonna send me this. We're trusting each other that we're gonna do this and fulfill the promise. And like we did that. I sent him a really cool card. He sent me a card, and he even like included like a nice note, and he sent me a couple extra cards as just like, hey, these are extras. I hope you enjoy these. And it's a cool feeling. Like there's definitely like a sense of like community. There's also definitely like bad parts of the community as well. Like the scalpers and the people who are just like straight up ripping people off,
Oh yeah, man. Since we're talking about the scalpers, we gotta talk about this. If you remember back when Pokemon last year, oh year before last, this was 2020, right?
Yeah.
All right, so 2020 and 2021 are just like the same year
One.
in my mind.
Yeah, same.
But so McDonald's did the thing where they had the promotion with the special cars, with the 25th on it, and the ones you can only get at McDonald's, and the world went goo goo gaga, myself included. And so I remember, I was like, I live in Houston. Dear God, I live in a major city. This is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. I didn't have any illusionary imaginations going on. Like, yeah, I'm just going to find that one McDonald's people don't go to. Oh, yeah, they were going to them all.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking for cards, and I was just like, man, I don't think I'm ever going to find a single pack. And I was getting desperate. And so there was a McDonald's. I used to work at a cabinetry business. And, occasionally I'll work there on the weekends, as it's a weekend job type of thing. My friend like, hey, you want to help me move cabinets and break them down for like $400? I'm like, $400 for a Saturday? Yeah, that's fair. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And so he calls me and we're moving stuff, and there's like this gas station McDonald's, just as like right by his shop, and they just had them like, I found the holy grail. Like I was like, gas station McDonald's, of course. And it was like, and like they didn't have a drive-through because like it was being remodeled at the time. So what, a gas station McDonald's you have to go into? Gold mine. So
really?
Yes. Like I'm assuming since the drive-through was closed, most people are like, well, I'm not going walking through the gas station to go to this McDonald's. I don't know what the case was, but they had them, and they had them a lot. And so we're buying like 20, 30 Happy Meals. We're doing the people are just like, man, what's going on? And then so my friend goes, he's like, hey, look, where's the box? I will buy the box. $500.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll buy the box $500 right here, right now. And then so they're like, yeah. And then here comes the manager. He's like, make it $700. This guy doesn't even know what Pokemon is, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
He's just like, well, if you're willing to spend $500, you're willing to spend $700. And the guy was like, hell no, the agreement was $500. And then they start arguing, like literally arguing in the store. And then he goes, I'll come back tomorrow. And then I don't know what happened between that and tomorrow, but we came back and they're like, oh yeah, we sold out. So like, because I didn't tell anyone. So someone had to go in there and be like, holy crap, they still have them all.
That's wild, dude. No, I wasn't in on that at all. For that first round. I got some of them through like Craigslist afterwards, like a year after. And I got them for like, I think like $25-$30.
So fun fact, I still have all of mine, and I still have 10 packs unopened. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. They're probably not going to be worth anything, but they're there.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, you know what? I don't think they will be, but I have all the cards in the collection, so these 10 packs are just, they're cannon fodder to me, and I'm just like, maybe one day, maybe this will be the holy grail, and, I'll be 40, and I'll be like, hey, look, I have the 25th anniversary McDonald's cards sealed, I don't know how you certify them, but certified from them.
No, yeah.
Can I get like, like $1,000? I'm not greedy. I get by with that.
Yeah, I have like some of the one I wanted the most was the Pikachu from the McDonald's stuff, and there was a dude on Craigslist who was like, yeah, I'll give it to you for like 25. I was like, cool. That's like the only one. I think I got him, and then Bulbasaur and Squirtle, and I was like, cool, I'm good. Like I'll hold on to these for 20 years, like you said, and see what happens. That's kind of like my whole approach. Like, am I enjoying having that? Is the card going to make me money in the long run? Okay, maybe I'll hold on to it. Do I like this Pokemon? Okay, maybe I'll hold on to it. If the answer to those questions is no, it's gone. I don't have time for the clutter. And I'm still like, this is like a pretty big stack of like cards, and I'm still like going through and selling some of them, just because I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. At the end of the day, they're just paper, right? So I have to be realistic about it. But it does bring me, it brings me joy to, have, dumb cards laying around that have cool art on them that are shiny. Like I said, My lizard brain likes the shiny stuff, and that's kind of the extent of the hobby for me.
Yeah, and you know what's the crazy thing about it is that Pokemon's so multifaceted that I know people who only love it in the card form. Like they don't play the
Yeah,
games, you know. They're you know, I feel like we all kind of watched the anime to a degree. You know, it was just kind of
yeah,
like part of like the '90s essentially. But you know, they don't
yeah,
watch the anime, they don't play the games. You know, they don't train or anything, but like they genuinely love the cards. And I mean, from a standpoint, how Pokemon cards are different from most card based things. So, you know, you have like Magic, Yu Gi Oh, and stuff. But
hmm,
to my knowledge, no one rarely ever just collects those. You know, it's the intent is to build a deck, to build, you know, something for practical use, not just to simply, you know, look at it. And, you know, of course, there's some people I'm sure who collects the cards and, you know, you end up play Yu Gi Oh or Magic at all or etc. But, you know, I find it fascinating that Pokemon is a card game meant to be played. You know,
yeah,
it was designed, you know, and meant to be, you know, like any other deck builder thing. But it's such, but at least again, to my knowledge, I've never seen a trading card game outside of like something like a baseball card, which there is no game. It's literally just collectible. Where the pure enjoyment is just simply having them. You know, not building the deck, not strategizing, just being like, you know, like you said, these are my favorite. I genuinely love this Pokemon. I love
yeah.
Venusaur. I have these Venusaur cards. I love grass Pokemon. I love this and that. And then people collect around that. And I just think that's just so fascinating to me. Like no intention to ever play the actual game,
No,
build the deck, zero.
I've thought about it, and I'm good. Like, it already takes up enough time, you know. Um, that being said, I've thought about buying Magic cards to play the game, because my coworker John Carson, he is really into Magic, and I'm like, I feel like I would buy some cards of that not to collect, but purely to play the game. Um, Whereas this is the opposite. I have no intention to play the game. I just like, the artwork.
Yeah, and
So it's interesting how like I feel like each like TCG has its own like ecosystem and like what's important to people. Um, it's kind of fascinating.
yeah, the speaking of artwork, they just had the Pokemon company just had the Pokemon card contest where, you know, you submit your drawing and the lucky winner is going to be made into a real Pokemon card. and, and I think that's fascinating because there's always the occasional like a kid clearly drew this but it has heart, so it ends
Yeah,
up as a card. But it's not off base because there's a lot of Pokemon cards that look like that on purpose, like that have
yeah,
like the preschool s drawing, and you know,
yeah. That's like for whatever reason that's the style they want to do, and it's like it looks very low effort, but I'm sure it's not. I don't. Maybe it is low effort. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I look at stuff. I'm like, looks like it takes 5 minutes. Could I recreate it? No, absolutely not.
oh no, I used to think that. I remember it was a Game Informer piece actually about like when the I don't know if it was their story for X and Y or one before that, or not X and Y but Sword and Shield, but it was
Yeah.
basically the process that they go through creating new Pokemon and like, you know,
Oh
how
yeah.
that goes, and it was real in depth. And I remember I was reading it. I assume it was for a cover story, but I was reading it and I
That
was like,
sounds right.
yeah, I was like, wow, that's like you know, okay, let's take a Pokemon like Garbodor. That's literal trash. But I found him enduring. Like I don't like Garbodor. I like Trubbish's pre-evolved form. That's like the trash
Me too.
bag. Like
Me too.
I don't know why. And it's like, you know, even the Pokemon that look so basic, like duh, it's a insert item here. But you know, like you said, it looks simple from a design standpoint, but the process of making a Pokemon be Pokemon like that to fit the brand, the image to
So much work.
yeah, and I'm like, that's insane because, you know, there was a scientific study done that said, you know, if someone who knows Pokemon, like your brain starts to, there's a region of the brain that can recognize what is and what is not a Pokemon, not like from real life, but like let's say you take something like a Tim.
Yeah.
There's some like Pokemon has like created something fundamentally recognizable that your brain can distinguish that goes, this is a Pokemon, this is not. So you can look at a Tim or a Fakemon or any, you know, Pokemon clone Facebook game that's always advertised for some reason, and you can literally on a scientific level know that this is not a Pokemon, and that's clearly by design. And I don't know what magic they do to do that, but I think that's amazing that 900 plus monsters later. I'm saying 900 because I don't know where.
I think that's about it. Yeah.
Hussein forms. I don't know ultimately how that's gonna play into the lexicon of Pokemon, but yeah, that 900. It's a formula that that is unseen to be like, yes, this is a Pokemon and this is not.
Yeah. You got to have like a really good eye to be like, okay, well, the outline has to be this weight, we're only limiting it to like, 8 colors. Like there's all these limitations and I'm just pulling those out of my butt. I don't really know the limitations, but I'm sure it's like extensive. I would love to see like the visual branding guide for that for creating a Pokemon, like the internal document. Like, exactly. Don't do this, do this. You aren't allowed to have this color. You aren't allowed to have, no phallic imagery, whatever. Like, I want to know like what those rules are. So.
I want to know what's like the golden rules you don't break. Like a Pokemon does not X. Like 5 toes, dear God, never. Just
yeah.
Like
exactly.
a random hard rule. Like if any artist like drew a Pokemon doing X, Y, Z, like you're lucky we don't see you to the end of time.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
And so we talked about the cards, its impact, and of course, its influence and all that. And so I guess when I asked you, because you were a part of the resurgence process when it happened, do you think it was a direct result of 2020, or was there just like a random lightning bolt into like the trading card community?
I think it had a lot to do with like COVID in multiple ways, not just like, oh, people are bored, but in like the fact that like supply chains were messed up all over the world, and like there were all sorts of like shipping delays and like manufacturer cancellations. Like there was, on top of like these cards being already like focused on like creating rare cards, right? Those rare cards are even rarer when they aren't even being made as much as they are meant to be. And I think you combine that with just like people are frustrated, they're fed up, they want some sort of release. So the fandom kind of kicks back up, and then scalpers see the opportunity and they get in on it and like reduce the stock even more, which makes the fandom even more passionate about like seeking out and finding those cards. And I think it's just like a cyclical loop that was just kind of like time and place. Like I'm sure it could have happened any year, but like the level to which they came back, I think was definitely a result of the environment at the time.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I mean, the Pokemon company, they're not stupid. They're
yeah.
Because I remember, Alex, I Was Going to Be You when they did like I forgot what the exact name, but I'm just calling it Gen 1 re-release. Those classic, like I was like, oh man, that's the exact Abra I had. That's the exact Charmander burning the grass, and I was like, I remember I was at Walmart and it had like the bin, and it was like $120 or something. And I kid you not, man, I was staring at it hard. And like this guy came up and he's looking, and he's been respectable. Like he could clearly see I was there first. And he was like, are you going to do it? And I was like, man, just go ahead. Just you are already, you came with the intent to buy this. Please go ahead and buy this, because I can spend the money on this. I don't want to, because I felt like if I spent the money, I opened it, and then like the nostalgia hit me. And it was like, because I remember thinking, if there's not a holographic Charizard in this, how much am I going to keep going till I get one?
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't know if it was guaranteed because it was the 10 in my mind. It should have been. And because the thing about it was, I was like, these aren't going to be worth, because they're not, they're not the original print. So clearly, they're not going to be worth the millions or anything. But man, that nostalgia was hitting me hard. Just real bad.
Yeah.
And like you said, they like my actual Pokemon card. Like I have a book, like I think it was like the little official book, which is bullcrap because it only fits like 50 cards in it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how are you supposed to collect with this? But I have it somewhere, and I just need to go find it, and I need to go like hug it and put it under my pillow, and they'll fill me up. And and so what was interesting is, and I always crap on Pokemon Go players, and I do it with love, but I remember there was like so my cousin, she's like 10 or something. I don't. I was the only kid for. I'm still the only child. I was the only child, but I was the only kid in my family until I was 11. So I didn't get like my first blood cousin until I was 11. And then, so I have two cousins that were 11 years apart, and then I have two cousins that are like in grade school.
Yeah.
And I love them. I mean, they're family, but I swear, like, I don't see these girls. I see these girls once every blue moon. And like, I remember I told my mom that I was like, I don't remember them even being born. Like, I just remember like coming home one day and it was like, I have a 3-year-old cousin. But, and they were like, they were into Pokemon Go, and they know I like Pokemon, bonding. And then so my little cousin, she was like, hey, look, they started making Pokemon cards. Do you buy them? They're cool. And I'm like, man, what? She's like, yeah, it's a new thing. They make Pokemon cards now, like to go along with like the video game. And I'm just like, and it's cute. But like, there's that part of me that's like, going to be like, no, yep. They've been doing it. This is not new. This is my thing. I didn't, of course. I'm not a monster. But
you thought about it though.
Yeah, I completely, you see the videos now, like, because every song's remixed, and it's always like you think it's like a classic song that you love, and then like the pop rock. J-pop version like kicks in, it starts off like, like, oh yeah, this is my favorite song, it came out when I was in middle school, and then like the remix kicks in and it's like by some new artist, and the kids think it's the newest song ever. But I can't think of a good example now, but we all know we all have a song that's been ruined. But yeah, she was just over the moon about the cards, and like showed me like her cards that she got, and I'm all like, yeah, it is cool. I mean, this is my thing, but this is cool.
Yeah, right.
I remember my mom asked me about it. She was like, did you get cards when you were younger? I'm like, yes, Mom. She's like, oh, okay. I didn't know. She's like, I don't know what's going on. In the same way that, our loving parents just be like, I don't know. You play the video games, right?
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
But yeah, it's just come full circle, power Pokemon, all that good stuff.
Yeah, only getting stronger, I guess. I don't know. Like, part of me, I'm wondering if they'll ever hit that, because it's already kind of started to die down again, and I wonder if they'll ever if that was the peak, for that part of the fandom, or if in 10 years it'll happen again.
Yeah, I don't know, because one of my main critiques of Pokemon as a whole pertains to the VGC and the TGC, that as popular as it is, as much money as it makes, they still do in my opinion, a very bad job of making it accessible to more people. For example, like if you want to, play in the TCG and like get to like nationals or even worlds, at least here in America, they're only held for a very brief moment in time in the most randomest of cities, at the most randomest of times. And I feel like, I get that, maybe you don't have the resources. You definitely have the money. So let's just say you don't have the resources to make it happen on a grand scale.
Yeah.
But I feel like you should have more cities and times. Like, I live in Houston, one of the biggest cities in the country. And all the years, there's been one TCG qualifier preliminary here and 0 VGC. 0. Not even at all the times.
No?
And none. Not even once. One TCG, no VGCs. Like, I remember the one year that I was going to do it, the closest one, it happened to be in Dallas. And I was like, all right, cool, I can make to Dallas. But it was literally like Dallas, Tuesday and Wednesday this one week. And that was it. And like my next closest one, kid you not, was like Tennessee.
Jeez.
And I'm like, man, this is far too spread out. I mean, if you live in Cali, they got them like up and down the coast,
Yeah.
All
the coastal cities have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I really want them to make it, because I feel like, okay, if you added 30% more, 20% more, whatever, TGC venues, options to, get your points, do prelims, get to nationals or regionals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that you would see an explosion. Like, I know people do it now and it's successful, but I'm like, it could really be more successful, especially as an adult, where I'm like, see, it's weird because I'm an adult. I have the money I don't have the time to get to these places. But if I'm a kid with free time, it's like, I mean, convincing mom and dad to take you to Tennessee when you're like 5 states over, that's got to be a hard sell.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. So, like you said, you grew up in Virginia, or you're Minneapolis now. If TGC was like, hey, this happens every year like clockwork, you would be more. You still with it?
I don't know. Like, if I had to go that far, if they said, hey, it's an hour away, I would make the trip for something like that. But you're talking like 5 states away, like, no way.
Oh, definitely not. But I'm just saying, if it was in the city, if this was in Minneapolis, every year, like, you would probably be like, you know what? Let me make a deck this one year and let me just see how far.
I would do it.
Yeah,
I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do that with like I'm very competitive. So like anything, like whether it's Pokemon or like, I don't know, like Halo or something, like if there's a local tournament and I'm interested in that subject matter, I would definitely like, I thought you were saying, would I travel that far for?
Oh,
no way,
definitely
dude.
not. Yeah.
This is Minneapolis? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I honestly feel like, all right, you do, okay, California's that they're taken care of. I get that. So excluding them, you do the 10 biggest cities in the country, and that's all you really need. I mean, that still wouldn't be enough to reach, clearly the masses. But I'm saying the way they're doing it now, it's like, five cities ad nauseum that change every year. And I'm like, no, just have
Pick
be like,
some.
yeah, it'd be like you have the, like it happens every year in these cities, right? Every year around this time, and then you can have a rotating group of traveling cities where, you can.
I like that idea. Like, you can count on Vegas, you can count on like Denver, you can count on Chicago. I'm trying to think what else. You can count on like Washington D.C. Like, kind of spread it out a little bit, and then have a couple that rotate for like the people that can't make it there, and then you can maybe get like a circuit. Like, that's when you can really get people, like, if they can count on it happening every year. The problem with like all these kind of events are like they're so sporadic and like, oh, we're doing it big this year, and then you're not gonna hear anything. Like, if you can get consistent with that kind of stuff, like that's why I think Pokemon Go Fest, they do it every year in Chicago, like same place, same general time. You can plan on it, right? You can set your watch to it, and I feel like that's kind of required if you want that sort of event to pop off.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, like I think like I'm pretty competitive too. In the games that I feel I am good at, I will go the distance.
Yeah.
Maybe not Smash. Like I'm slightly above average. Like I'll go. Like I always tell myself I'll make it to the top 50% of the bracket, and then usually after that, like I'm getting beat. Like I've never played the game before.
I'm awful at Smash, so that definitely wouldn't be one for me. It'd be like FPS or like a card game. Those are like the two that like I would raise my hand for and go and try out.
Yeah, but Pokemon is one of the few games where I can be like, oh yeah, I plan to be on like that top 8. Sweet 16 is like my bare minimum. Like that's my goal for it. But like I said, it's really hard because it's just, I would almost have to plan a vacation for it. And like you said, that it happens so sporadically. It's not like, oh well, it's gonna be in March. It's like, well, shit, I'm not gonna know where it's gonna be until like 3 months prior.
Yeah, and then you gotta buy flights and ask off, and I feel like, I'm sure it's really difficult to nail that stuff down, but I feel like, man, y'all should just like plan out the next 5 years, stick to it and commit to it, and see what happens. Like, it's Pokemon. Like, people are gonna show up.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And while they're at it, get the whole Nintendo World Tour thing back on. They're probably never gonna do that again.
Oh,
I'm amazed
sick.
they did it the first time. Honestly,
I did. I saw PlayStation had a PlayStation Tour when the PSVR was first coming out, and they stopped. At the time I was living in Denver, and they stopped in Denver, and it was the whole tour bus thing that had like the PlayStations all in it. They like took over this warehouse and like turned it in this huge VR arena, and there was like 50 of us. Like, it was awesome though, and it was free because it was just marketing, right? Like, it was all marketing. Yeah.
You know,
It was cool.
those are always the best events. It's like, yo, this is like amazing and no one's here, so it's just free range.
Yeah, yeah. It sucks that I'm like really sensitive to VR because like I could have like gone really hard on it and I could do like one or two things and I was nauseous.
Oh man.
It was like they were showing off the Arkham VR game at the time. They were showing off that it was like that and Rigs. And Rigs I played and just like almost vomited like
Oh
everywhere. 'Cause
man.
that game, it's like rough. But yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I always tell people the first time I saw PlayStation VR, it was still called Project Morpheus. I think that was a
Yeah,
E3 2014.
dang.
Yeah, and like I remember being, I remember, shout out to the PlayStation team, but this guy was just like, it was like, yeah, this is Project Morpheus. Are you ready, Neo, to enter a new world? And I'm
Oh
just
my
like, like I got it. And like, I mean, he was enthusiastic and stuff, but like that memory has stuck just so hard in my brain.
The cheese.
It's like,
Are you ready? In a world. It's like, dude, let me just put the headset on.
yeah, it was. I played. I don't think it was even a game. It was probably just like one of those like testings. But what's the thing you call where like street luge? I think where you're on like the skateboard on your back thing and you go. Yeah, that
Luge, right? Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds it was a street luge game, and I remember at the time I was just like, whoa, futuristic. Little did we know, VR kind of capped and peaked at some point. It's not bad. I just feel like everyone's just kind of like, yeah,
that is what it is. You know, you either like it or you don't.
Yeah, you do.
But I mean, I feel like that's a totally separate topic. I feel like that's on a comeback though. I've seen a bunch of Quest videos and stuff lately.
Yeah, and PSVR 2, we'll see what what goes on with that.
Destiny in VR. To bring it full circle, let me bring my Pokemon cards into VR. Oh. I see people playing Yu-Gi-Oh digitally. Let me do that with Pokemon cards. That'd be sick.
I feel like it will work so much better with Pokemon cards because Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime has built up what it's supposed to look like, and clearly we're not there. We're not at at that level.
The giant stadium, like, yeah, but Pokemon just like, oh yeah, throw it out.
Yeah, like because of the video games, like, I mean, you don't really need them to do much. Just they come out, they stand, maybe a slight animation, and that's it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Let them battle it out.
That's people keep joking, but Nintendo's gonna enter the VR. They're gonna make the Virtual Boy 2, and they'll win all.
It'll be over.
Again. It would be. Just. I'm going to end with this.
All right.
I love Nintendo, but it's just like there's so many things they could do that would just be over. It'll be like Sony bought Square, Capcom, and every Japanese studio known to man. Xbox bought every Western studio, and then Nintendo could just be like, we made Virtual Boy 2, and everyone would be like, that's it. They won the console generation. Race is over.
Put the Switch on your eyeballs. Didn't they make something like that?
Yeah, I was about to say with the Labo.
They totally did.
Yeah, the Labo had the
VR helmet.
Yeah, shout out to Labo.
Yeah, that's wild.
Labo's kind of. I mean, I don't play with them now, and they're kind of all half broken. But that was pretty fun.
I never messed with it.
What?
No, I was like $80 for card or however much. I was like, also again, I get nauseous with VR. It's not for me.
But
so
you
I was kind of already
piano,
out. That did look dope. I loved that because I play music and that was like the one thing I was like, oh, I would love to make the piano.
It has like a creator beat studio maker. After you make it, you can make little punch cards and do the little. It scans it. I was just like, man, I did it because like I was like, bro, I'm not gonna act like I'm a producer with this Switch piece. but the fact that you could. I remember I would YouTube videos where people will upload, the music they made using the system. And I'll be like, bro, like, how?
Yeah. They get ridiculous with it. There's like 10 people that actually use it for that, but they're all geniuses.
Man. I mean, shout out to Labo. Sometimes I feel like I need to get like a soundboard for the show so I can be like, shout out to Labo. Shot noises, all the classics.
That's amazing.
Well,
I need
Alex,
to steal that idea.
Thank you for joining me. Talking about Pokemon cards, explaining the art of pooling giving us that, good old country home Virginia feel back.
Oh yeah.
Tony Driver. That's where he was going. He was going to Virginia, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, for the sake of the show, he was going to Virginia. But, again, where can the people find you, keep up with you, see everything that you're doing nowadays?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. People can find me at It's Van Aken on social media, and then find my work over at GameInformer.com. And that's pretty much it.
That's it. Nice and simple. As always, people, you can find the show at FC Podcast 23 on Instagram and Twitter. There's Patreon for you Patreon folks. Links in the description below. But as always, like, share, and subscribe. It's free 99. Let's go ahead and do that. But I'm Odo Harmon Jr. You can find me at Odo Harmon Jr. And as always, everybody have a great week. Be blessed. Peace.
Bye.